Okay, first up, it says to classify the polygon by the number of sides. So you're just going to tell me what type of polygon it is. Okay, hexagon, pentagon, octagon, things like that. Okay, and then we want the sum of the measures of the interior. Okay, the interior, the formula that you're going to need here, and this is not one that's on the formula sheet, is n minus 2 times 180. Okay, you got to find out the number of sides, and then it's n minus 2 times 180. This is for the interior. Okay, the exterior is how many degrees? For like number 3. 360. Good. Okay. It's just one number. It's not a formula. No matter how many sides I have, it could be 3 sides, it could be 10 sides, all of them add up to be 360 on the outside. So exterior and interior, you got to be really careful about reading the problem. Which ones is it asking about? Okay. We want to find vertex M down here on number 6. So what I would do here is I would use the slope. You're going to plot the 3 points that they give you, 1, 4, and you're going to label it J, and then label the other 2. And you're trying to make a parallelogram. You're going to make a 4-sided figure. Okay? So what I would tell you here is you want to use slope to find it. And what you can simply do here is you can just count, rise over run. Okay, so use that as kind of a clue here. Your answer will be an ordered pair, kind of like the other ones are listed. You're going to tell me the ordered pair of M. So here it says J is at 1, 4, K is at 5, 3, L is at 6, negative 3. You're going to tell me the ordered pair for M. Length of a mid-segment is going to be base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. The mid-segment is the segment that's in the middle of the 2 bases. And we call it the mid-segment because it is equally distant. Okay? These 2 pieces are the same. These 2 pieces are the same. So this is right in the middle of that trapezoid. So really it's just finding the average, okay? Just finding the average. You might want to go back and review. A good way to review is go back and use the notebooks, use your notes, use your old reviews, use your old, anything that you have. You can use that today to help your review. Like I said, we're on chapter 7 and 8 today, so you got to go back to the very first book that we did in the semester. Hopefully you still have that. You can go back and look at the different names of the different types of polygons and what are some different things that we know about. Okay, so here, not only do you have to tell me, but why? How do we know that it's a rhombus or square or a trapezoid or whatever? What are some things that we know about that figure? Here's some questions where you're finding the measure of some angles. On number 12, now we're in chapter 8, okay? So the first 11 questions are all chapter 7 questions. Like I said, about 10 questions per chapter. This one had 11. Chapter 8, we talked about similarity. Okay, when we have 2 polygons, if they are similar, then they are in the same ratio to one another. All sides, all measurements are in the same ratio to one another. Okay, so what I would have to determine here is 25 matches with 15 as 15 matches to 9. Okay, you're going to go length to length, width to width. You can go big to big, small to small, however you want to do it. Now, there's two ways that I can check this out. I can reduce both of these and see if I get the same ratio when I reduce it, or I could just cross multiply. Take 25 times 9, take 15 times 15. Do I get the same number? Okay. If I get the same number, then we would say yes, they are similar. Okay. Number 13, what you have to be careful of here is they do tell us that they are similar, so we don't have to determine yes or no. We have to use a ratio to set up a proportion. Okay, so these are proportion questions. But you got to be really careful about what side matches with what. Like this one here is between 1 and 3. This one is between 1 and 3. So pay attention to the markings on the triangle. So 21 would match with 7. X is the piece that we're trying to find. It goes between 2 and 3. This one over here goes between 2 and 3. So you won't use all of the sides that are given to us. Okay, here's another one, setting up a proportion. Number 15, you can draw yourself a picture. I probably would recommend drawing yourself a picture. This is one of those where you're comparing like we did like flagpoles, we did buildings, we did all kinds of things. This is one of those big old cactuses, and it might seem like this is a big cactus, but this is one of those big cactuses. Maybe you've seen pictures of it, or maybe you've actually seen one in real life. It's a huge cactus. Okay, so we don't typically see big cactuses like this around here, but it is a pretty big cactus, and we want to find how tall this cactus is. But don't freak out when you get that. Now, here's what you got to pay attention to here. This one's in feet, 5 feet 10 inches. So when we do this, and you don't necessarily have to draw a picture of the cactus. You can if you want to. Okay, so this is our cactus. This is the person. We're comparing these two at the same time of day, right? The sun's sitting at the same time, so it's going to cast a shadow for both objects. We're trying to find the height of the cactus. The shadow is 30 feet long. Okay, the person is 5 feet 10 inches tall, and it casts a shadow 50 inches long. So here I think what the best way to do this one is change this one here to inches, and we can do the person in inches, and we can do these two in feet, and I don't necessarily have to do that. But you can't do like 5 feet 10 inches tall. What I remember some people doing is they did like 5.10. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? 10 inches, there's 12 inches in a foot, so it would be 10 twelfths. Well, we don't really want to do that either. So it's a whole lot easier to change this one into inches. Okay, then it's a whole number. It's instead of a decimal. We don't have to worry about a decimal. So what we would have to do is we would have to take 5 times 12 plus 10. Okay, so the person is 70 inches tall. And we can solve it now. Okay, we can set up a proportion. Since these are only in inches, that means both of these would be in feet. We don't have to convert this one to inches. Okay, you can leave the person in inches and the cactus in feet. So now you just set up a proportion. And there's all kinds of different ways you can set up that proportion. Okay, I would encourage you to go back and look at some of the things from chapter 8. There's a lot of different ratio type questions. All of these are essentially setting up ratios in different ways. On number 18, identify the similar triangles, find the value of x. So here's what I would do on this one. I would redraw all three triangles. You're going to have a large, you're going to have a medium, and then you're going to have a small one. Okay? And I'm going to situate them so they're all basically going to look the same. Okay? I've got a 90-degree angle in the upper right-hand corner of all three of them. The reason I situated it like that is because that's the way the original one is given to me. So this here is J, K, L. Okay, then we're going to do the next one. This one here is going to be J, M, K. And then we're going to do let's do this. So we know that M is the 90-degree angle. Okay, the shorter piece is going to be X. The longer piece is going to be 6. And so MK and then MJ would be the 6. And then you got this little one right here. Okay, this is going to be the longer side. This is going to be the shorter side. So I'm going to put 4 up here. I'm going to put X right here. And this one, M is still my 90-degree angle. This is ML, and this is KM. Those would be your 3 triangles. Okay. Once you have those 3 set up, then you can label all the sides. We know that JL is 10. And we can try to find the missing piece, X. The easiest way to find X here is if we're trying to find this piece right here. This is what I call a median. It splits this right here. So we're going to say 6 is to X as X is to 4. So when I set this one up, I'm going to set it up like that. Okay, cross multiply, but what happens when I cross multiply and I do X times X? What does X times X give me? X squared, okay? So you're going to have to solve that out. You're going to get X squared equals 24, and you're going to have to solve that out. And I'll give you a hint. That's what you're doing on this one here. You're going to set up an equation just like this on this. Anytime it says geometric mean, you're going to set up the equation just like that. The 2 x's will be diagonal from each other. These 2 numbers will be in these 2 spots. I think today's review might be the hardest of the 3 reviews just because it's the longest since we've done it. So that's why I really encourage you to go back and look at some of your notes over some of these things. Okay, the last page, we're trying to determine if A, B, and C, D are parallel. Once again, it's another proportion. If these 2 are parallel, then they have to be in the same ratio to one another. Okay. The last one, we have to determine why are they similar, okay? We had several different things that we could use when we determined triangle similarity. So you might want to go back and review those. What information do we know? Like on this one, we don't have any sides. But when we have triangles that are similar, they don't have to be the same length. They won't be the same length, right? They're similar. How do we determine that similarity? So you might want to go back and review some of your similarity theorems. So go back and look at some stuff from chapter 8. Okay, you can look at reviews or you can look at your notes. Either one of those would be good to look at. Okay, I'm going to let you guys work.